you had them fight Bryan Danielson or CM Punk or whatever the case may be. Listen, we're going to continue this discussion, and I definitely want to get your thoughts on the matter. The number to call in, 914-338-1885. But joining us on the line right now, I have a real special treat for you guys. It's incredible to see this guy's face and know that he's here right now. You may have seen him in WWE as a referee. You probably know him from some of his hardcore battles on the independents, or more recently, the Florida political scene, which he's lighting on fire like he used to light his opponents on fire. Drake Wuertz on the line with us. How you doing, pal? Good to see you, man.
Man, I'm incredibly blessed, Brady. Thank you so much for having me. It's really cool to sit down and chat with you guys. So, man, just happy to be here. Exciting times.
Yeah, it is for sure. So tell us, I mean, obviously you've had a lot going on since we last kind of saw you on TV. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yes. Well, I still have my toes in the water of professional wrestling. I mean, once you're in this business, it's in your blood. And I spilled a lot of my blood throughout the world in the course of professional wrestling. And so, it's always going to be somewhat of a part of me. Obviously, it's on the back burner at this current stage of my life. But I do go to Puerto Rico once a month to work for Orlando Cologne's LAWE, Latin American Wrestling Entertainment. They have television,
okay.
incredible atmosphere, great crowds, and it's a good mix of established stars with like the up-and-coming stars on the Puerto Rican scene. And so, I go there, do some production, help with the ring crew and referee as well. It's kind of give back whatever knowledge that I've gained over the course of being in professional wrestling for 20 years. The other aspects of my life, I manage a small business here in Central Florida, construction sales. That's gone phenomenally. It's so funny what you pick up in the line of professional wrestling. You can truly use it in, quote unquote, civilian life. When you travel around the world and you meet so many different people, you pick up different life skills that can help you on in whatever chapter of your life. Obviously, I'm running for political office. I'm running for state representative here in Central Florida as well. And then, I'm a father of 3 children. I coach Little League Baseball, still stay in shape. So, it is busier than ever. It is just absolutely nonstop with either campaigning, running my business, just being a dad, being involved in my community, and then, doing some wrestling endeavors here and there as well. So, man, it's incredible.
Let's start with the politics, and then we'll kind of jump into the wrestling. So what was it about the political scene down there in Florida that really intrigued you, that made you want to kind of get more involved?
Yeah, well, here at the state level, I think at this day and age, at least in my 38 years on God's green earth, there's never been a more important time good state representation, especially when we have there's these constant threats of federal overreach and federal tyranny. We got to have good to defy any kind of potential overreach. And we need to have, for men that are going to rise up and stand on constitutional, conservative Christian values. And within the Republican Party, there's been so many weak-kneed, jelly-back, politicians that are career politicians. They run on platforms of being patriot conservatives, and then they get to Tallahassee and they just vote for tax hikes, and then they just go along with whatever leadership wants. I think, a lot of people every 2 years, they say, oh, this is the election, this is the year. But not be cliche, 2022 is really the year of the outside of the box political candidate. True champions that are rolling up their sleeves. They're tired of sitting on the sidelines, and we're tired of politics as usual. And so we're gonna, we're running as the founders of our nation, that framed the nation, how they founded our nation, which is citizen legislators, not politicians. And so, yeah. For those that, out there listening to listening to the show, I invite you go check out my website, votedrake.com. If you're conservative minded, or even if you're not, please check out my website, sign up for my email blast. And if you believe in what we're doing, please consider making a donation to the campaign as well. But most importantly, please pray for us.
Now, Dick, as a non-Christian, you can keep those ideals out of my politics. But I do have a question for you. I'd like your opinion. Who is the greatest wrestling politician of all time?
Ooh, man, that's a
good one.
It's gonna be a tie between Matt Morgan and Glenn Jacobs.
Wow.
Right now, I think Glenn Jacobs has it. I think Kane.
But more than Jesse Ventura?
Oh yeah, 100% more.
Okay.
Glenn Jacobs is standing against all this nonsense from Biden. He's standing against. He's taking a stance, against all all this liberalism that's trying to be pushed into his state. He's like standing firm. I love it. I love what he's standing for. So he's not holding back, and he's doing fantastic as mayor. I can see him as governor of Tennessee someday.
Wow.
Glenn Jacobs, he's a rock star Christian conservative. Really is.
Of course, you're incorrect. The correct answer was Abraham Lincoln, Wrestling Hall of Famer. So
he was.
Really should have. As a Republican, you really should have known that one. So
Abraham Lincoln was more of a catch can, but he didn't draw as much. Come on.
Where did he ever draw? Any comparisons to be made between wrestling and politics? Who's more trustworthy? Who's more trustworthy?
It is so much like pro wrestling. It just hurts a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Instead of hitting each other with barbed wire bats and steel chairs, I mean, you're getting verbal jabs and in backroom dealings and stuff like that. But no, wrestling, it's just like wrestling. And it's almost like you're starting over too. Because like you get bookings for speaking events. You have your stump speech or your promo. You got to pay for your own signs. You pay for your own trans. All the old timers give you unsolicited advice. So it's so much like wrestling.
Oh, that's cool. So like, obviously, Drake, you're somebody who's not afraid to speak their mind, even if like maybe people don't always like what you have to say. And this is kind of a duh question, but like your time with WWE, how difficult was it to kind of toe that line between keeping your beliefs and not offending the people that were paying you?
Oh, I didn't toe it very well, obviously.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
My wife and I did an interview last night as well. The first 6 years that I was with WWE, it was, man, absolutely incredible. It was like a family atmosphere, especially with the NXT. Like it was like we were like a team. We traveled like as a sports team. We, that 2016, 2017 NXT roster. Man, will never be duplicated. Like unmatched. I mean, you had Tommaso Ciampa, you had Johnny Gargano, Street Profits had just come in, Aleister Black, Undisputed Era came in 2017, Cassius Ohno. I mean, all the ladies that came in, Bianca Belair, Matt Riddle came in at that time, Donovan Dijak. I mean, it is just a stacked. Given night in Cocoa Beach, Florida, or Leesburg, Florida, you could see what is now would be considered a WrestleMania card. And we traveled together. We set up the rings together. And it was truly like we wanted to outdo the main roster. And we had all these people, especially if you had a family, you moved to Orlando, Florida from wherever you were from. So it was really kind of a tight-knit bond. 2020, obviously things got a little different. They, world shut down. They separated everybody. There was all this, influence from Marxism and political stuff, and so that kind of just muddied the waters a little bit. But no, man, absolute fantastic run. Like some of the greatest memories of my life. I got to, be in a feature match at WrestleMania, a couple of them. So, plenty of takeover main events, traveled the world on another man's dime, was on TV every week, learned a lot of life skills, learned television production skills, made a lot of friends that I still talk to today. Awesome.
From your previous, I'm sorry. No, sorry about that. From your previous wrestling experience, what has that like taught you going forward into the other endeavors you're partaking now?
It's really prepped me as far as work ethic and just going hard and not being afraid of a crazy schedule. And especially whenever you were on the independents or in the grind of WWE, I mean, you know, I remember it would be common in a weekend for me to do 3 matches in, let's say, an IWA Mid-South Strong Style tournament in Chicago. Get pounded to pieces, get stuffed into a van, drive 12 hours to Pell City, Alabama, and do 3 death matches in a day. Stay in a Motel 6, you know, wake up, travel home the next day, and just go back on the grind. You know what I mean? It just it really preps you for having thick skin and for just having that go-getter attitude. And not being afraid to, hey, I'm going to operate on 3 or 4 hours of sleep, but I'm going to give it everything I got today.
Right.
Just being genuine with people. You know what I mean? You learn to read people, you learn to talk to people, and it just builds your confidence out there in the real world.
And he's, by the way, he's being too humble. This is Maestro from WCW.
Oh, I know
the
Maestro.
Monday Night Wars. Yep. Right. That's him.
Yep. Pleasure
we're very happy to have him.
Yeah, pleasure to actually speak with you. You know, I've read some of your commentaries and we've chatted online a little bit. So it's a pleasure to speak with you in person here.
Oh, absolutely. Pleasure's mine, sir.
Yes. I've had a great relationship with Norman Smiley, and he always talked well about you.
Yeah, please give Norman my best. I love Norman.
Yeah.
Did you ever, I mean, like you said, that roster in NXT and like even some of the stuff you've done in the independents, like you've been surrounded by some amazing talent. Did you ever get that like kind of pinch me moment where like it just all seemed too surreal?
Yeah, being in the ring at WrestleMania when Triple H's music was playing for the match with him and Stephanie versus Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. That was a moment that I can remember where, you know, the camera wasn't on me, and it was the classic Triple H entrance with the motorcycles and Motorhead, and like nobody. I just was looking around at 78,000 people screaming at the top of my lungs, and was like, "Wow, my goodness, good God, how did I get here? This is incredible." So
that's right.
Really stuck out.
Yeah, that's cool. What was I going to say? So one of the listeners wants to know, hardcore wrestling, like what would attract you to wanting to drag a barbed wire baseball bat across your head or play with thumbtacks or broken, any of that stuff? I
knew it was something.
Appealing?
Yeah, I knew it was something that could, you know, set me apart at the time, rather, you know, because there was, especially in the mid 2000s, there was a big uprising of wrestlers that were doing death matches, but having a lot of athleticism and innovation. And I found that I had a decent threshold for pain. And I knew that it would kind of get me out of my local area. And just to be quite honest, it was quite an adrenaline rush as well. I mean, this sounds crazy, but you've never felt more alive than when you're bleeding buckets in front of a screaming, raucous crowd. I don't know, man. There's just something about it. So definitely not something you could do, you know, for 20 years steady. But you know, during that 8 years, I was pretty solid in death matches. Like I was proud of the work I put in. I felt, you know, I worked with some great people that took care of me, kept me safe, and made some good memories. And yeah, man, it was awesome.
I know, like a lot of that time when you were involved in death matches and stuff was the time that you spent specifically in CZW, and that's kind of where I got familiar with you. I wrote like the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, you know, story and everything at the time, the feature, and it was such like a tight locker room. It always seemed like to me. What was the experience like in CZW?
Oh, some of the best years of my life. You know, the 2010 CZW era was really cool. We had JC Bailey, Trent Acid was back. This is, you know, shortly before those guys, God bless them, God rest their soul, before they passed away.
Yeah.
We had Brain Damage and Danny Hick, and Ruckus was there. And CZW was like a rock and roll deathmatch gang. You know what I mean? And it was a changing of the guard. When I came in there in 2006, there was, you know, the old school, the wife beaters and the Nick Gages and all that. And then there was a new age rising up. So it was cool. Oh,
yeah. They're fine.
3-year-old background.
You're fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So like one of the things, and I think a lot of fans kind of got exposed to him in 2021, was Nick Gage. probably because of the Vice documentary and also because of the rise kind of GCW in recent years. What are your thoughts on him? I mean, I knew you knew him from kind of a younger age, if you will, a younger age, if you get it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, hold on. There we go.
Yeah, my early battles with Nick Gage, it was so cool being in there and just the atmosphere that he would create with the audience. And I felt like I earned my stripes being in there with Nick Gage. We did a rope barbed wire match in Delaware early on, and I felt like I'd earned his respect. And, once there was a couple, I remember a night particularly, I wrestled Nick Gage and then I wrestled Necro Butcher in the same evening. It's like, man, that's a tough day at the office.
Yeah.
And once you get the seal of approval from Nick Gage, you're good to go. And just we had some great times outside of the ring as well. Just got to know him and an incredible human being. I haven't talked to him in years. I'm very happy for his success and the aura and everything that he has built up because he definitely deserves it. But man, we had a good handful of matches that were really cool. One in particular, we did one at the arena. It was actually another no rope barbed wire match, but it wasn't advertised as such. Just Zandig kind of pulled us to the side that day, and he's like, "Hey guys, I want to have tonight." Yeah, he's like, "You guys be willing to do no rope barbed wire?" And me and my young, fiery, I'm willing to fight at the gates of hell for John Zandig. I was like,
"Wow, okay,
sure, whatever you need." So we had that match tonight, and Nikki really loved it, and we had good chemistry. Nick Gage is going to go down in the history of our business as just one of those truly unique characters. You hear the cliche, like some people have it, the charisma or the it factor or whatever you want to call it. But whatever that is, Nick Gage has it and then some, because he can command an audience and he can command a room, and he does it with he's not going to beat around the bushes. He's not going to change up his approach. He's not going to change his style. He's not going to change his presentation of the brand that he has. He's going to be Nick effing Gage. Love it, like it, or leave it. That's who he's
right.
And the people generally, they tend to like it. And I'm a fan.
Sure. And there's definitely some hardcore fans that really enjoy that kind of stuff. I guess my next question would be, obviously there have been some breakthrough performers, but by and large, can being a hardcore wrestler, does that make it tough to break into the mainstream, do you think? Or is that something that's just kind of a perception that's not really true?
I think it's a perception. I think there was a time when yes, that made it a little more difficult. Era when WWE was just looking, you had to be 25 years old, you had to be 6'3", you had to be 225 pounds, blonde.
Chris Masters. Yep.
Right. You had to be that kind of mold. I think during that time it was tough, but you know who really broke the mold, I think, because he was a deathmatch guy. And then he went to the developmental system and became Dean Ambrose. And, it was just an extension of who Jon Moxley was. And I think that showed hey, you can be, and he wasn't like a soft hardcore guy. I mean, he did no rope barbed wire death matches. He did light tubes. He did panes of glass. Match with me, him and Nick Gage in Lumberton, North Carolina, where we were bleeding buckets. So I think Jon Moxley really broke the mold.
It's interesting that you bring up Jon Moxley because I think a lot of fans, like you said, they've really kind of taken to him these last couple of years, especially since AEW. What were your experiences in the ring like with him? Because I know you guys have had some battles as well.
A lot. Yeah, we were very close friends as well. He was actually in my wedding.
Cool.
I was really grateful early on to just be in the ring with him during those early days. He really brought up his creativity and his mind and the way he presented his promos and his character. It was really, really cool, and it forced you to step up your performance as well. And he was super, and still is. Something I just kind of drop in and out nowadays. I don't watch, religiously, but he incredibly adaptable. He can be in the ring with a Bryan Danielson and have a technical masterpiece, or he can do a death match with a brain damage and just have blood and guts and gore, but really paint the picture of a story of a match that folks want to be invested in. He can paint the picture picture with the way he talks and his story and his presence, rock star aura. And so, he's just a unique individual and friendship, and just really happy to see him not only succeed, but succeed on his own terms. When he chose not to renew his contract with WWE, some people were like, "Oh man, he's crazy. They offered him all this money," but
sure,
he wanted to continue his legacy the way that he saw fit, and I think it's paid off.
No, for sure. One of the listeners actually wants to know when you went to WWE. Did you have any designs at the time to get in the ring as a wrestler, or had you really put those days behind you at that point?
Yeah, I totally put those days behind me. And it was,
okay.
It was, kind of joked around, but no, those days were fully committed to being a referee because, for sure, I checked all the boxes that I wanted to check as a wrestler.
Okay.
Main evented Cork and Hall, Tournament of Death, Best of the Best, TPI, King of the Death matches. Had that really fun 2-year run in PWG toward the end of my wrestling run. So,
sure.
That was really cool. And so I'd done everything I wanted to do as a wrestler. So I wanted to fully commit to being a referee and learning other aspects of the business. Now I will say this: whenever the opportunity came to take a ref bump, I was all for it.
Sure. That's cool. And obviously you've described some pretty what normal people, not normal. I'm not saying you're not normal. Please don't come after me. But most people wouldn't want to do some of the things that you have done during the course of your career. Was there anything that was too much for you, or something that you really hesitated before you did it?
I would always hesitate with something when it was like heights, like going off a balcony or something. That just kind of terrified me. I would do it, but I would be really chicken about it.
Okay, yeah, and you had that one really big fall. I remember that one time. I'm drawing a blank, but yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, from the top. Yeah, nuts. But not that you're nuts. Again, I'm not saying you're nuts.
Oh no, you have to be a certain kind of nuts just to be involved in this business. You got to be nuts. Yeah, this is. Being in the wrestling business, you're a different breed of person, so you got to
have. Drake, you mentioned the website. If people want to follow along at home, again, give them the website and what kind of social media, again, if people want to kind of keep up with what you've got going on.
Campaign website's votedrake.com. You can find me on Instagram at the Drake Wuertz. Facebook is at Vote Drake Wuertz. I have a personal Facebook as well. Feel free to request me. I do post throwback pictures from my wrestling days. Again, I'm involved in AWA in Puerto Rico. I'm doing Wrestle Daytona as a signing and autograph signing and refereeing. That's going to be in Daytona Beach on April 4th, I believe. And so I have shirts available at ProWrestlingTees.com under Drake Younger. So, yep.
Very cool. And thank you so much for the time tonight. I did have a favor to ask before we let you go. I'm hoping it's okay.
Yes.
We could get you to record a bumper to play on the beginning of the show. Would that be okay?
100%, man. Let's do it.
Cool. Thank you
for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the name of the show, and you can read it over Stroh's head there. It's In the Room. So if you could just tell people who you are and that they're listening to In the Room, we'll have you on your way. And again, I appreciate it so much.
You got it. Let me know when you're ready.
3, 2.
Hey, folks, what's going on? Psycho Shooter Drake Younger, a.k.a. former WWE referee Drake Wuertz, and you are listening to In the Room.
The Psycho Shooter. I forgot. All right. Well, thank you so much, Drake. It was a real pleasure. I appreciate the time. And best of luck with all the political stuff, for sure.
Awesome. Kevin, Stroh, take care, guys. Be blessed.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
And what we're going to do right now, guys, we're going to open up the phone lines. And we're going to take a commercial break. Malcolm, I see you on there. Everybody else dropped off, but come on back. 914-338-1885. It's In the Room on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network. And we'll be right. Oh, Kevin, you got to get out of here too, don't you? I'm sorry. I ran right into the break. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to sign off. But before I do, I'd like to give a plug to Joy Goff Marcel. That is joyforfl.com. She is the Democratic opponent of Drake. So if you'd like to learn more about a politician, if you'd like to learn more about a politician who doesn't think that children are being trafficked out of pizza restaurants, joy4fl.com is the way to go. Check her out. But that's all I've got this week. It's been a pleasure, fellas. I think I behaved myself really well for that last segment.
You were. Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll talk to you guys next week.
I appreciate it. I love it. Take care. All right. And what we're going to do, we're going to take that commercial break right now. 914-338-1885. Malcolm, you're up on the other side, and anybody else that calls in as well. In the room, VOC Nation Wrestling Network. Be right back.
Hey, this is